We gave two of our NFT analysts $50,000 and 7 days to build the best NFT collection they could. In this video, they'll pitch their selection to us, and you decide who wins. This is your host, Piers, and this is NFT Collector.
Coalie, do you want to start us off?
I guess I can. So I'm Coalie B, and I'd say that my portfolio right now is quite a fluff maximalist portfolio. That's where I see the best value in the whole space right now. And my first purchase was this female tiger fur with the peace symbol, good glasses, joint. The overall traits and aesthetic of the fluff were brilliant, and it was up for 5.5 ETH, and I think it's going to be a fantastic buy. And along with that, then I bought this male for 5.5 ETH also, and this is for a breeding strategy for Fluff World. It seems like having two fluffs with the same fur, one being male, one being female, you'll be able to breed these to create more fluffs in the future, and I think that's going to add a lot of ongoing value to my portfolio.
Yeah, I hope the one takeaway for people listening at home is that this random dude on the internet's buying rabbits because he wants to fuck them.
I am going to make millions of dollars fucking virtual rabbits, yes.
I fucking love it. Are there any specific traits that you're looking at that appeal to you in the fluff world?
I always go towards trippy traits, like psychedelic looking furs and stuff like that. But they're extremely expensive, probably out of everyone's price range. So if you can pick up good aesthetics around these kind of 100 rarity on the furs, a lot of them will have good value. The way they do utility in Fluff World, I think, is where a lot of the value comes from. There'll be some unique utility unlocked somewhere in Fluff World, or you'll get some airdrop somewhere for every single one of the traits at some point. So for example, when they did their burrows drop, people who had the mansion trait, the mansion background here for this guy, people who had that, I believe got a high roller burrow instead of a standard burrow.
Got it. Well, those seem like two brilliant picks to open with. Teng, what have you got for us?
Really like the fluffs. Was thinking about picking them as well, but I have a slightly different pick. This is really my absolute favorite project today. I do think it has the potential to be culturally significant and potentially a blue chip in the future. It is basically the best on-chain collection. Wow. And if I'm going to be spending 5-digit sums to buy an NFT, I want to know that they're always going to be there. The artist who designed all of these CyberBrokers is Josie. She's pretty much an OG in the space, has been creating a lot of art in the crypto space since back in 2017. Some of the art is pretty amazing for a fully on-chain collection. I think in terms of selecting the ones that I would buy, it really comes down to the aesthetics. All of them look pretty different, but if you're looking at rarities, I think one thing that I would probably pay attention to is the talent trait. But you can see there are quite a number of different, almost job classes. They are here Degen, Youth Farmer, Looter, Smuggler, and Forcer. As I think a game gets developed on this either by the team or by someone else that develops a game that uses these CyberBrokers, I think these classes are going to be pretty important, and they could see some additional utility and benefits for this. So I think the one that I kind of picked out so far is this. I really like her because she has this pretty unique background, which is these sonic jutters. Another one that I was looking at that I would also pick out is this Tira from Illustrious. She has this gargoyle quite type talent, which still not sure what it's going to be, but I think it's pretty undervalued compared to the rest of the other gargoyles right now.
Well, don't spend too much out of the gate, Teng, but I think these look like strong choices, I guess. To recap, we've had some Fluff Worlds, we've had some CyberBrokers. What have you got next for us, Coalie?
Let me pause right there. This is the first episode of our new NFT Collector Show, and as a gift to you, we're giving the first 100 people 50% off the first month of Delphi's research when you use the code JPEGCollect when following the link in the description. Head to our website below to find out more and lock in your subscription.
Next up, I had an altered state machine brain. It's an average IQ, it's right in the middle intelligence, and I believe I picked it up for 3 ETH. It's got 99 IQ, average intelligence. If I was to keep the portfolio entirely in kind of the Fluff World camp and their ecosystem of projects, this would be, my buy. I'm extremely bullish on ASM. There is risk there. Like, it's a very kind of new field that's changing all the time. It's been failed many times. Like, a lot of people have tried to marry blockchain with AI in different ways before, and it's been failed. But this is kind of like, we've learned those lessons now, and it's kind of been figured out what should be on chain, what shouldn't be on chain. And I think this is a really great attempt, and potential market size is absolutely massive, and the kind of things you can do with video games and all kinds of different things with these brains is kind of fascinating in and of itself. So I think at Triet, this kind of buy is like really, really safe.
What was the rationale for going truly middle of the bell curve on this brain? Was it a budgetary constraint or something else?
It was mainly budgetary. It was near the floor. I think the floor was just above 2.5, and like, again, average brain for Tree. Like, it seemed like a pretty good deal. A high IQ doesn't necessarily you're going to be better at everything. Like, there could be certain activities, especially ones with subjective outcomes, like making art, like generative art. A 40 IQ brain with like absolutely no skills could be like an artistic savant. But I think it's quite a risk to buy one of those brains, like blindly, when we don't know really anything about them at this point.
Very nice. Teng, what do you have on deck for us?
So I think the next collection that I probably would want to add to my portfolio is the Aku collection. If you've been following our NFT News Insights newsletter, I've mentioned Aku a couple of times before. Basically, Aku is the brainchild of Mika, who's a former pro baseball player turned into an artist and builder. And Aku is this digital explorer who's on a mission to prove that there's no dream, no obstacle that's too large. So over the course of 1 year, he's kickstarted the development of the Akuverse by dropping 10 chapters of these animated series on Nifty Gateway. And these 10 chapters that have dropped is really very much only the beginning of this whole Akuverse. I know the ambition of the team is really to build a lasting mainstream brand with movie, games, and more. And I know many NFT projects like to talk about these things, and we know it is really hard, and many of them aren't going to be able to do it. But I think Aku really has a shot in this space. I'm probably going to go ahead and pick up 4 of the cheapest chapters: Chapter 5, Chapter 6, Chapter 7, and Chapter 8. Each of these are about 0.65 to 0.7 ETH. I think owning one of these chapters makes it more like a membership program. You feel like you're being part of this whole Aku community that's being built out, rather than owning, say, a picture that you can use as your profile pic.
Very nice. Good price point, I might add. What have you got for us next, Coalie?
So my next pick is the Seekers, and this is also from the Fluf World camp, but it's kind of attached to another one of their projects, Silo, which is more kind of like a social media network that they've built. These NFTs are kind of going to act as nodes in that network, but also they'll have functionality in Fluf World. And they were only released last week, and they're actually currently slightly below mint right now. And the reason for that, I think, is because they did sell a lot of them. The mint amount is about 48,000, which is a lot for an NFT project where the mint price was basically 0.1. That kind of left something to be desired for me, and I think that's why a lot of the community is maybe not gobbling these up right now. But I do think the utility is coming, and if you are going to buy them as well, I believe the ones with higher ID numbers, the way they did the sale, have a higher likelihood to be rare. They did have an incentive to sell you more in the sale, so the more that were sold, the closer you got to the end of the sale, the more incentive there was to buy more, because you now had a higher chance of getting rarer items. The one downside with this project is there was a little bit of greed here. They got a little bit greedy, I think, with this sale mechanism,
Well, I got to say for you, this was a great pick for the collection. The fact that these were below mint price is your opportunity here, so well done, sir.
I will be mixing that, like the rest of my portfolio is basically going between these and DrugReceipts, where these are the same price right now, coming from a similar camp where it's not quite the Fluf World camp officially, but one of the co-founders of Fluf World, a guy called Brooke, he's involved with this project quite closely. And I'm a fan of these guys, and I think they've basically got a partnership with Fluf World in the bag in the future, where there's going to be some kind of airdrop or some kind of utility given to these in Fluf World. We'll say half my portfolio would go on these, half the remaining amount of my portfolio would go on these, and half it would go on the Seekers. So that's what I'm doing with the rest of my money.
Teng, how are you going to round out your lineup from here? Coalie seems to be quite the formidable opponent.
I mean, for my pick, I picked something that was a little bit different. I'm also rounding up. I probably have just about 5k left. I'll be splitting them between, I would say, 2 collections as well. The first one is this WVRPS by Warp Sound. It's interesting because it's really a fusion of generative visual art as well as AI created music. The art is by Emmy Award-winning artist Andy Poon, and you can actually watch these characters come to life every week on their Twitch live stream. So basically, these characters actually do a set that takes like audience inputs and participation to create a whole, I would say, kind of like DJ set for about an hour or so. And I think each of these characters have a different sort of like specialization, where I think the DJ Dragoon is more techno focused and the Rabbit's a little bit more chill house kind of music. I can probably afford, I would say, 3 of these. The other one that I am going to look at, and this to me, I feel like I'm a little bit hesitant to share as well, because I feel like it's a little bit much more of a degen kind of like a pick, but basically it's this collection that's called the Notorious Alien Space Agents, and we are going at about 0.06 ETH right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to pick up 2 or 3 of these. To me, this is the kind of project that will either going to do a 50x or it's going to go to 0.
At the end of that round, this is what our collector's bags are looking like. Coalie with a total collection value of $49,864 from 9 NFTs, and Teng with $46,169 from 12 NFTs.
So I think we've got 2 great collections here, one by the Rabbit Dude and the other by Teng. The best part about it is we're going to ask the audience to decide and vote on who thinks is the best collection. The links will be in the below. Fuck, dude, it makes no sense. Let me try again. All right, so we've got a bit of a curveball for you, fine gentlemen. You've got 5 minutes to pick an NFT worth 5 ETH or less to add to your collection. If you could please go ahead and share your OpenSea screens as you search.
We can't both do that at once.
Well, Coalie, maybe you go ahead first. Teng, just put your brain in stasis for a moment.
That's totally not fair, but okay. Straight away, I've gone to cryptodes. I am very bullish on this project long term. I'm just going to go to around where my budget is. We're going to start looking for a cool frog. Toad 447 here, nice one. But yeah, it's a community of builders, founders, like a really, really well-respected, like OG member of the community who's a builder himself. As we know in this space, talent for building compiles in itself and attracts more talent. And I see that kind of happening with cryptodes. And they've just got that kind of like, they're so bad, they're cool factor, you know? Those things seem like a safe bet these days.
All right, Teng, you're up. You've got 2 minutes starting now.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly look at the rankings on OpenSea, see what's available for under 5 ETH. Okay, I think one that sticks out to my mind are the Pudgy Penguins. I think another one that I really like is the Capsule House. To me, it's very interesting because we are seeing a little bit of like an anime narrative right now. Some of the art is actually created by Light, which is to me an artist which I really love to own a couple of his pieces of, because he creates such amazingly distinct art with his own sort of like unique style.
All right, Teng, 5 seconds to pick one.
I'll take these one of these yokais, because I think they have these PFPs that come with these that the other species don't have right now. I'll probably just get this one at 1.9 ETH.
In a future episode, we'll be looking at how each of these collections has performed based on community feedback, as well as how the market has responded. So go and vote using the link in the description. And don't forget to sign up for Delphi's research with 50% off using the code JPEGCollect.